Okay, I'm recording.
Okay. It is Friday, May 13, 2022, and the Anchorage Assembly is conducting a work session at Covenant House, which includes a tour. So we'll now go around and identify ourselves for the record. This is Suzanne LaFrance.
Cameron Perez-Radia.
Randy Solt.
Austin Quinn Davidson.
Claire Ross.
Kevin Cross. Christopher Constant.
Allison Kerr.
Joe Hemphill.
Aurora Ford.
You guys want to say your names?
John Redoubt.
Matt Helzer.
There you go.
Great. Thank you. And we'll go ahead and proceed with the tour.
Got it. So what I'm going to show you, since they are getting close. I mean, we have an official opening on June the 24th. So you will all get invitations. Okay. It'll be furnished. It'll be ready. I just felt like there was a lot going on, and you guys need to see some of the positives that are really happening, and that people are listening to young people and changing models and are owning that we can do things different and better. And so I want you guys to see that and know that you had an investment in this. So this is really going to be designed as if you think about it, you are leaving your house and this is your first apartment. And you live in New York City because it's a little small. But you have a great space in New York City. So it is not designed to be a high intense community treatment. No, it is we're teaching life skills and supporting a young person in kind of their next step or next journey. They may have come directly from the shelter. They may have come directly from the street. They may have come from our transitional living program. They may have came from one of you referring, right? So this is an open program, and open service is a better word for it. And we've now officially named it Covey Lofts. So it's going to be the Lofts. There is a staff member that will be here. There is a laundry room. This is a laundry center that will be here. And then the first floor, which we'll stay on, and you guys can walk around in this space, are the sight, sound, and ADA rooms. So the second and the third floor are accessible by stairs. So this is the area that we will be using to accommodate anyone who has any challenges. Okay?
What is the age range for these?
18 to 25.
Okay, so 18 to 25.
Yep.
Thank you.
So here you go. We can kind of walk around.
We can go upstairs.
Oh, look at you. You guys are nice.
Just behind the walls, some of them
So-
are wet.
Yeah, there's wet paint on the walls up there.
Okay, so think about this. Everybody gets their own room. So there's a bed. It's going to be fully furnished. Individual. Yep. Look at the bathrooms. There's a nice bed. There's a desk. Every room will have a microwave.
Window?
Every room has a window. Beautiful window. There's ADA.
This floor.
This floor is all this floor.
And then there's upstairs normal.
Yep. Custom closets. They'll all have TVs. They'll all have Wi-Fi's. They'll all have some technology to help lift them to whatever that next kind of space is. All the rooms are between 200 to 12 square feet in this space. And at Covey Academy, you'll see they're about the same, a little bigger, 250. But, we went with a model of a nice space that you can personalize and but call your own.
How do people become eligible? It's just anyone experiencing
At risk.
homelessness
Yep.
in that age range.
Yep.
And there's availability, vacancy.
Yeah.
Vacancies get.
So the one thing that I would say is that, if we never tackle prevention, then we're always playing catch up, right? So
Can I bring you everywhere?
Yeah.
Alcohol tax, and now I'm not to just
right. And so the one thing that we're going to specifically do is try to target our young people exiting foster care and figure out a way that there could be a better transition, that someone doesn't have to go homeless in order to receive our services, because we get them like 40% after 1 year are in our space, right? And foster kids. So I'm specifically talking to Kim, the director, to say, like, we've got to dedicate some intentional effort on that. So that's one particular group that I really want us to focus on.
Do you do like communal cooking area?
It's like a really nice. So
I know.
Definitely. you can
I had a triple in college. Yeah, so it's definitely better.
still see this room.
Yeah, it was about that size. Yeah.
So what you can see, this almost has it. So every room will have a refrigerator, a microwave, and an Instapot. And an Instapot. And then we're doing Instapot training. And so there's a lot of training on simple but healthy eating that we're going to be doing in the space. And there is a community, yeah. And you know why? I took an amazing Instapot class with my best friends in Arizona. It was the best thing that I ever done. So I'm an Instapot fan now. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. I promise you. So this space is really not designed. If a young person needs more community, then there are other options. Like our Rites of Passage has a lot of shared kitchen. So really, if you think about this, all we're doing is creating another option, right? Like everybody doesn't fit into the same option. There will be ones that fit exactly into this, right? So again, but the bathrooms, and really in their design was I need my own bathroom, right? I need my own bathroom. I need my own bedroom. It doesn't have to be big. Yeah. And this is a nice size. I mean, I wish my college dorm looked like this.
Without two beds.
Yeah.
I say Suzanne, I had a
It
triple.
smells way
Oh, really?
different
This
than my
size.
college dorm.
Yeah.
What about safety in
Yeah,
terms
this-
of
that's why I
access,
put them on the bottom floor
access front
windows.
door, access windows?
You
that
know,
sort of thing?
I've had to live my life being okay with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like we have a lot of cameras exterior. We have we've done it several times. You know, Cameron, if we get here and there's safety again is an issue, we've contracted security people to walk around and to do. I mean, our cars get broken into. I mean, it's a part of it. Our kid's gonna pass things through. They don't really have to because they can walk out the front door and get it. So this isn't. It's not a space where they're restrictive of their rights, right? So
well, I'm more thinking about their safety. That sort of thing. So.
There's always someone here to check them in and stuff,
Yeah.
so you can monitor guests or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there is
an
someone.
hour.
This
Is there like a?
So this one, and this is one of those things. It's that wonderful balance between we're going to give you a lot. And we want you to stay here to get the skills. You're not going to want to live here. I've had board members when we walk through and they're going to like, oh my God, they're going to check in at 18 and they're going to leave at 25. No, they're not. This is sober living. This is restrictive guest. No guest in rooms.
So no guest in rooms anytime or.
Well, at this time you create what you think is the best, and then we evolve, right? So we think of all the other programs where a lot of the challenges lie is in the responsibility that it takes to have a guest in your room, and they may not be ready for that. But this model, we were actually having a big program meeting today, and it'll start out with daily room checks. Yeah. And then it goes to a week, and then it goes to a month, right? So
I think it's a wide policy on my low income rentals. It was seldom the tenant. It was the tenant's guests who came over and got out of hand, and then they're like, "It wasn't me." And it's like, but it was because you let them in.
Yeah. So we're, our thinking is. Okay, so I think it's time to go over to the academy. I think you're ready.
The next two floors are exactly like that.
Just
Different bathroom.
Different bathroom.
And no lounge space.
Yeah.
But there is no, other than the Instapot and the microwave, and there's no cooking.
Oh no. So the one thing too, Cameron, to think about is we see Covenant House as if we're the concierge services of this space, right? We have 3 meals a day. They can, if they want community meals, they can
walk over there.
We completely disconnected the buildings intentionally because it should be a conscious path. It shouldn't be exit the building and then you come in kind of the front way for services, as opposed to feeling like that's where you have to receive your services. So we have a gym over there. Yeah. We have a weight room. We have art room. We have music. All those things. It's almost like if this was an apartment complex, you could have that space, but it's just
like a clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
There you go.
We're gonna change our name to the clubhouse.
That sounds fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Allison, this you're saying at the beginning, so there's the academy, which you're going to show us.
Yeah.
And then there's something else. You have a couple of
Well, so the other thing that we did with the ARPA money is we took the miners off this footprint, and we have
Okay.
a miner shelter, a back house.
Oh, right. Right. Okay.
And so
That's what I always think of the ARPA funding being.
Yeah.
So that's not here.
That's not here. And we're actually, I have to be careful because I'm in the middle of conversation with planning and zoning, but we're lifting the license so that we're changing the license structure so that we could serve up to 25 in
At the
shelter
house.
here.
Oh,
No,
here, okay.
because there's no more minors, right?
Okay, right.
Like we
Yeah,
would
yeah.
never mix a 13-year-old with a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is,
And right now your shelter was limited because
Yeah.
you had
we had minors.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And so the conversation is more about, again, that's bringing more people to be able to maximize
the services.
the services.
So this is currently all 18 to 25. All minors have moved over. Where's the Mac house?
It's right by my house, so I watch it. It's on C Street and kind of right across from Kreiner's.
Okay.
It was a fourplex.
Well, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Someone that used to be in. I used to
Block
know that
Foundation.
Yeah.
Richard Block donated it to us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. One time he said to me, he's like, "What do you need?" And I said, "I need like a house." And he's like, "Okay." He's amazing.
They're
I
good
love
friends to
Richard.
have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a dangerous thing when people ask me, "What do you
Right?
need?"
Yeah. It's nice to be asked though.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, no one ever asks us that. What? This is what I need.
Yeah,
What do
yeah.
you need?
So whenever we bought this, whenever we did this space, I used to always look over this building and I'd say, one day this building's going to be ours, and it's going to be a campus model. Campus model. The exterior is going to match the exterior here.
Okay. So this used to be like an office space and stuff.
Yeah, so we'll let everybody get inside so they don't have to be cold, right? So if you go back to that reason why young people cycle, right? No income, disabling condition, and less than 2 permanent connections. So our role in the no income has always been to have a space where providers that do that service can come and help engage young people in employment, education. The challenge has always been that there's not been stable housing that would exist for them while they're attending these programs. If you're thinking about going to a program in a trade and it takes 6 months, where do you live for 6 months when you're not getting paid necessarily to go to that trade program? And so there's a little bit of a disconnect that if someone doesn't have a person or a encourager or a cheerleader, then they're one step away and they just keep falling through. We just keep seeing them falling through. So we're like, okay, why don't we put it together and we'll do what we do best, the housing piece of it, the relationship piece, and we'll make an amazing space that our education and employment partners will come and exist, and then together we'll marry it and we'll make an academy. So envision this as we walk through. The first floor is all education and employment, and the second floor is housing.
So on the connection relationship piece, I imagine you have students that graduate and then want to come back and maintain that relationship and help and kind of lesson.
Well, that's what we call staff.
Okay.
We have, what do we have, 40% of our staff now. That's one of my things I'm proudest of, yeah. 40% have lived experience and have gone to college. I mean, one of my chief program officer went to school, and she's my chief program officer, right? So I think it's an amazing space to appreciate the expertise that they lend to the discussion.
I think that speaks volumes because that says how many individuals feel compelled to come back and contribute because it's so meaningful. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So what about services? You know, you said education and employment in that kind of overall package. There tends to be the need for services. Does that also happen here?
Yep. So here we go. Chris, you just prompted me. So this would be VOA. So really recognizing that, that mental health, substance abuse, all of that. So it's more designed in kind of a group setting. They can use any of the building for trainings.
VOA is going to be in here.
VOA.
So they're moving over here. They're going to have like an office.
Just offices, yeah.
So they can
Satellites.
serve.
Yeah. We bring whoever is in the areas, and it could be VOA plus whoever. Right. Oh yeah, right. There you go. So keep coming this way.
Get around, Chris.
The training center that you're going up there. This is my first time ever asking.
Now, whenever you guys.
Whoa, look at this.
So whenever you come on the 24th, still act surprised because it's gonna all be furnished.
Okay.
So these are really like college. So they're the high top tables, really cool. Everything is wired for distance learning. They can get college credits with UAA from here. We have it hooked up for all types of, access to remote learning and what would be best for a young person. And they don't have to just be a resident with us in some space to utilize these services. So they can have lockers. They could be
so people from over there.
People over there can. Yep.
So this is like a communal kind of zone. People
Yep.
live upstairs. People live over there.
Yep.
And then
People live in their own apartments.
People live in their own
and
apartments.
still come
Yeah,
back.
they
and
just have to
we have-
qualify by being, designated as a vulnerable
at-risk youth. So you think about it too, on any given night, we between apartments, I think we're 70, 80 young people in their own apartments, all of our different programs. So any of those young people, if they want to get into a trade, will come and, do this piece of it. So
It's just so cool that Allison, the guys that you do 18 to 25, because I feel like people really care about kids and sort of, I don't know if you guys ever read The Goldfinch, but I felt like that book to me was so moving because it's like, oh, he's a kid and he's got problems. Oh, he's an adult and he's, he's not worth it anymore. And so
I have to laugh. When you let young people design your space, they put crazy, funky things in here.
And they like it.
So does anybody know what this would be?
No.
Mothers that might be nursing. You turn it around, and there's a piece of furniture that's missing. One of my board members goes, "You're supposed to sit on that."
Well, you're nursing.
There's a couch that goes in this, but you turn it around, and that's a privacy area.
like it spins.
It's been, well, I don't know if it does.
Yeah, you just lift it up.
Yeah, it's light.
Someday.
Yeah, you just turn
I had no idea.
Cool.
Yeah.
With light.
But I love the fact that young people, they think of everybody that it might be needed. So.
Isn't that cool? Like everyone should have one of those in their
Yeah, it looks really fun.
So impressive.
We get snackages and things like that. I think they call them spike rooms on the slope. Yeah, there you go.
Spike rib.
That's what they call them, the slope. They have these little all over the place command camps. They have these little places where you get snacks and stuff.
Spike,
And
my
you get
mom
sugar
used
spikes.
to, my mom's a caterer and she used to work at Spike camps for.
So this is like
So it was like
Full on catering, pets. Well, so we think about it, right? Like so last summer, right? We were approached with what is a gap and where can you address some of that gap? And this is with our partners, Coconut Housing, Siri, Afognak, Tititleg, and Chugach, Alaska. And they were like, if we were invest in the Treasury Act, the Native Settlement Act, what could you do to help our young people? And we were like, what about an academy? And so they were our primary investors in all the capital in this space, right? And you think about it, it started in September, and look at it's going to be done in June,
awesome.
right? And of course, when we started, we were on that 12/30 deadline, which the expiration of it, and we would have actually made it. We would have hit the criteria, is we were able. Jason back here is my general on this project, and so we didn't have to stop killing ourselves to hit that arbitrary, because pretty soon it's really going to be done, and it's going to be amazing.
I may have missed something in the transition from there to here. That space you showed us is where community organizations are coming and working with kids and trying to get them into employment or training or these kinds of things. Is this an actual training site?
This is the training site. This is
like a culinary.
So, and the people that are advised. So we went to employers, the restaurant industry, and they were like, "You've got to help us get a workforce. You got to help us with certifications and programs." So people like Lael, who owns, a lot of, she came and helped like design this space, right? We used UAA Kitchen, the culinary program, help us design what could be an effective training center, right? So this is also wired for, like, we're going to be doing some Iron Chef throwdowns in here too, because it's
or participant.
Yeah,
assembly throwdown.
Yeah, throwdown, right? So it's designed to be that, right? It's designed to really create an interest for young people in culinary, and then show them how to get there, right? That's, we laugh. Our kitchen is a third the size of this kitchen, and so it is. All the stuff that they have designed in here
So
are
training, but also catering services, things
So
like that.
here's the other thing is, we always have one of our goals. I mean, everything we do is on our strategic plan, and ultimately one of our strategic plans is sustainable revenue.
Right.
So we look at, and everybody's, conversation is social enterprise. It's unless we bought a business, it's really hard to be a training center and something. But what we have thought is that there could be meals on demand. There could be, catering that could be offered by a cohort of people, and take and bake type things. Yeah, and so we could do that to give opportunities for learning. So it hasn't been ruled out. Hey, get out of here before he turns off all the electricity.
I'm just looking.
Keep an eye on him. I know. Very suspicious.
It's tight. It's tight.
Okay, so we have two things. So anybody who wants to take the elevator, we're going to go up first, and then we'll come back down to the other part, into the residential. So anybody wants the elevator or the stairs? Now here is a exciting thing.
Take him.
Yeah.
Take him.
Take him. No. And he's actually working.
Oh, wow.
So
cool.
Oh wow. So all the assembly. This is your assembly, right?
Cool.
Oh, wow.
And so Kim has helped us actually in every building Covenant House owns to create the space for art, right? And to help our young people appreciate art, help artists to really, be engaged with Covenant House. So cool. And I would say most of these artists that continue with this have been with us since the 2012 project. Yeah. So it's an amazing space. And so Ted is bringing to life hallways like this, and then hallways in the residential area.
Yeah. Some exciting news was Channel 2 News just did a story here. So tonight at 10 o'clock.
Oh, there you go.
There'll be a deal on it. So.
And Ted made a special picture for you guys to sign about community, and you guys will sign it, and you guys will forever be in the building as part of our community.
One of the things you get to do as mayor is borrow works of art from the museum. So all of the stuff that's in City Hall right now that was done by Ted.
We love it.
Yeah.
I love looking at
That was
everything.
such a cool.
So beautiful.
It was weird timing with the pandemic. But the fact that my art was in the atrium of the museum for a year.
Yeah.
And it was only, I think, scheduled for like 3 months when it went up or something. But ended up being a year, and then it went straight to the mayor's office, right? So I haven't been over to the mayor's office.
It's just on the first floor of City Hall, but there are 8
City
to 10
Hall.
pieces, I would say.
Yeah,
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's exciting. Thank you so much.
I was like, I hope they don't change it up.
Okay.
I know. I dread the day they take it
Ted
down.
hesitated to even mention it. Honestly.
Nice to meet you all. Enjoy.
Thanks, Kim.
All right, thank you. See you later.
Okay. So if you think of this building, what you're going to see on this side is a mirror image on that side. So we're just going to walk down one side. So this is more college-like, right? So this is more, each corner of 4 has a community room, right? So each corner of 4 has their own community space. Like this is a TV, this will be furnished for it. Again, each room, a refrigerator, microwave, hot pot, and here is...
This truck just pulled up in our alley one day and just lifted at the back and said, "Do you guys want some microwaves?"
Oh, Joe. You guys are recording everything. Thank you.
That is not the worst thing that's been captured. Don't you worry.
Okay. So again, all the furniture is going to be here on Monday of next week. So, and all our partners, Matson shipped it.
I mean, it's almost ready.
Yeah. So everyone's
Matson
TV.
shipped it for you guys.
Yeah. Great. Yep.
So cool.
So everyone a TV. We have a GCI technical partner, and so they're getting Wi-Fi, they're getting iPads, stuff like that to really promote that they're a part of, like, this is their academic experience, and we want to create that for young people.
So do you just
And they all have their own temperature. I mean, look at that.
Do you just have a long wait list right
Yeah,
now?
so-
Or where are all the kids coming
Yeah,
from?
so
Our
where,
kids, young people.
our goal was to figure out how we could have options available for 100 more young people. So between these two, we're at about 45, and we won't stop until we get to that 100.
So you have a list already.
So we have a list. We know where they are. We know their vulnerable state. We know.
Some will come through BOA. Some will come. Lots of referrals.
Yeah.
And
So everybody's kind of maintaining them as we, go. And, some are marginally, in spaces that, couch surfing, various other things. And so 1825 often kind of flies under the radar of your numbers, but the numbers are there.
So how many spots do you have?
So this is 20 and then like 25, so 45 between the two.
And have you already identified?
No, we haven't.
folks who
We
need that
haven't.
much space?
No, we haven't. We have not started a list that is.
Has everyone on it?
Okay.
So there might be more
I think
room.
that's one of the challenges with coordinated entry is like it's as if this stuff happens in a sequential way.
Yeah.
And so whoever is first gets first. We're not going to do that, right? We're again, this is going to be one where, and we did focus groups with young people, and we were like, one of the number one things that they wanted was teach me life skills, right? So everybody's thought is, oh my God, the kids don't want to learn. They do, right? They just, one, it's never been modeled, or two, they haven't had the environment in which that's something that they can learn and kind of own and keep themselves. And so we're really, that's one of our priorities. Here's a gym right here. This is a gym.
Oh.
Yeah, look at you.
Oh, it's
my first
long.
time,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I expected that to be a tiny little room.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
It's on
so
the first
long.
floor, so you don't drop weights.
Yeah.
So all the equipment for that. Very cool.
Did we lose Cameron?
He's still outside there on the phone.
Okay, he's on the phone. Okay.
Yes.
You like take a turn and
So
he's wandering out.
So everybody will have also these locked units. I mean, security is so important to young people. Like in their life, they feel like what they have can be taken really easy. So they'll have kind of their own locked spaces. We are changing out the doors to be codes instead of locks.
I'm betting you'll do
So,
the same.
yeah.
I was going to say, otherwise you're going to be
Yeah.
routine locks.
Yeah.
I'm betting these will also
Yeah.
be
Look.
locks.
You know,
That's a good idea.
yeah.
Gyms have them now too, a little keypad.
See, that's why I carry Jason around with me. Jason, can you take note of that? Yeah.
So, Allison, did you say that the young people who stay here, they're part of the program or they're part of the academy?
Yeah, these are the
Sorry for that.
these are they have to be actively engaged. This is not just singular apartments up here. So these are actively engaged in the academy, whereas the micro units, they don't have to actively be engaged in another service. So, yeah.
But they can if they want.
Yeah, they can if they want. Yep.
Yeah.
So you can walk in and see these rooms.
Just clean up.
again, the important things that they wanted. I want to take care of my own temperature. Bathroom.
These are bigger than I thought. They really, I mean, by looking at the floor plans, you can't tell how big they actually are. This is really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I'm so proud of our community, you guys.
Too.
Especially that
It's
age
like
group.
hard to believe.
It's so amazing. I'm really glad we came over here to see it. I feel like it's hard to appreciate everything. Well, immense.
Yeah, and like talking with Chris makes it worth it.
The hate, yeah. All those people who said we were wasting money, here it is.
Each side has, it really, to see that has a kitchen.
Yeah.
It's good that it goes.
Service for vulnerable populations.
He'd be perfect. Yeah.
He needs something to put in a trade program.
Yeah, he'd be perfect. Wait till I show you downstairs our trade program. You'll love it.
He's got some developmental issues.
Yeah. Okay, so this is and again, I'm not taking it to the other side, but it's a mirror image.
Big machines, those are big loads.
So we teach.
These are the ones that do both?
Yep.
Wash and dry.
No, I think these are dryer and these are washer.
Those are 30 pounders.
Yeah. It's one of each.
Yeah.
Washer dryer, washer dryer, washer
Yeah.
dryer.
Yeah. So, and again, each side has kind of a mirror, with the exception of the gym is only on one side. So they're gonna have to learn to share the gym.
It's really tall.
Yeah.
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 It's very funny. It's like a whole
This is what it was like in
optical
Iceland.
illusion.
All the men and women were this tall, and I was like. and
To give you some perspective, it's weird to be down here. Like you're
Monica
always
was
looking
like-
up.
Okay, we're gonna go down and we'll see the training center.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
So this is like a classroom here?
I think it's the same.
No, that's a community. So it's just a mirror image of that. So you have units. They just don't have any of the boxes in here.
Units and
So
communal.
like our artists, these are up here just because they're going to be downstairs at the training center. But like our partner is Alaska Airlines, Matson. So we have long haul. So those are going to be. They're just staged here, but they're going to be down in the training center. And then we took artists that are from the regions where they were investors. So Siri, Fognak, Chugach, Alaska, and Titlik. Their favorite artists got to paint some pieces, and then the rest of the art we, have had commission for. But again, this is just a mirror image of that. So 4 units have a community space. 4 or 5 units have a community space.
This reminds me a lot of Elizabeth House. With the different colors and the art, and so Well, if that one gets lost as being like public-private partnership, like I heard someone say, they're calling it the first private partnership downtown. What was it?
Oh, the K Street.
Yeah,
It's like, no.
Wonderful tour.
A little bit of Paris, the UAA symbol still there?
Yeah.
Follow the
It's
yellow.
amazing how nice it is on the outside. You go outside, it's still
These are offices, huh?
So one of the things that we learned, so our partners that we're trying to get on space is Alaska Works, AvTech, and 9-Star. In our community, we don't have the simulator space for 4 different simulators, and so we were like, okay, we'll do that. So in this space, we have aviation, so they'll be able to get clock hours for certification for a flight. This is,
So cool.
and just wait, whenever we have the open house party, we're gonna all be riding that thing. That is teaching someone CDL and long haul. And then we have heavy equipment. So we went by what are our state's greatest needs, and especially in rural Alaska, and like how do we provide a space that then helps build the infrastructure when someone may return to their community. So
I suggest you also reach out to Ralph Gibbs at Merrill Field, because we just secured half a dozen professional level simulators. And probably for people who go to rural Alaska, there's a nexus there as well. And there's a feeder program to the university on the campus. So you might be.
Will you send me his name?
I will.
I mean, we're reaching out to everybody. I mean, we're the reaching out group. So, again, kind of a classroom designed to watch. The idea is to pique interest. The idea is to then be able, like if someone is in residence up there, they can get hours on these, right? And so, and they really just set this up like yesterday. So there's going to be 4, this whole area is going to be kind of named the Exploration Center, right? And then each has kind of a desk for instructor where they can log their hours. So this setting is going to happen again right there, and then on the back side of it, and then aviation.
Yeah, if you're doing aviation, definitely help the route.
Okay. I think this is the only way set up.
And I know you know this, to figure out how
Isn't that
to get them to
crazy?
give it to you for free.
Right.
Pretty awesome, because it is a fee for service.
Wow. Well, and I mean, it like literally, I'm even scared to try it.
Plugged in.
Is that?
Power switch is right here.
Oh.
Fire it up. Don't break it.
Flip the switch.
Yeah, don't crash.
It's probably that red button on your left there.
Well, there's a key
Turn
in
it on,
it.
you roll it.
Yeah.
Here, you get it and start it.
Never press a red button.
No, don't press a red. That's an emergency.
See anything?
No.
Hold on.
I can definitely hear it.
Flip
Flip the switch one more time. Yeah, there we go.
All right. Okay, who wants to sit in and try it?
Wow.
It's going to take a few minutes, I'm sure.
I know, right? Just think though, on the 24th, when you guys come, it'll all be ready.
You know what the most common question
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Why are there 3 pedals?
Oh, look. I don't know.
Why are there 3 pedals?
Yeah, because one has clutches.
Right.
Oh, no, a big truck you do. You got double clutch.
Yeah,
double clutch.
those kids don't drive.
Yeah.
Clutch.
Isn't this
That's
crazy?
Well, they should.
I mean,
It's more
So
fun.
trucks have computers in them now?
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
cool.
look, you were right. It is. It's on hydraulics.
They should have one of these
So
at
next you'd have to turn
ABCRB
them
rental
Yeah.
for those people written in
Class
class.
A.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. I saw them kind of do it, so I'm going to turn it off.
There might be a protocol.
I know.
Shutting down, it says. It's shutting down.
What is it?
She's locked out.
It says it.
Oh, got it. Wow. Oh, nice.
Really neat.
So, and, you know, we picked the ones that they don't have anywhere in Anchorage except up to Fairbanks. So Northern, is it
Industrial training.
NIT has this, but they don't have this. So the people like Alaska Works, they haven't been able to access this locally. So that's where we decided, okay, we'll stand in that lane, and and you stand in this lane. So
How
that we don't.
do your patrons, your kids, get driver training for basic cars?
So guess what one of our simulators is?
Okay,
It's a
you got a
driver's ed.
regular one,
Yep,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause-
So it's driver's ed and it's boating, because in rural Alaska to learn that skill. So you can actually the driver's ed program gets all the way up to it has probably 15 different scenarios that are created on what to do, and it gives you real life driving experience toward it, which I like much better than them taking out a Covenant House vehicle and learning how to drive on it, which has happened.
And I'm sure you cover the basics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
home
yeah.
finance
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
First classes.
Oh yeah. So there'll be a whole financial literacy program. I mean, like I really think that I love it when young people say, "Get to me before I ruin my credit." Right? And I'm
That
like,
was 3 years ago when I came in. It was a credit class that
Yeah.
I was offering to teach and stuff.
well, I might need you back there, bud. So
Conference room?
yeah, so conference room. We have your picture.
I'll wait for it.
Again, for doing what you do. Thank you. And then everybody gets to sign this, and then he has a frame, and we're going to frame it and put it hanging up. Although he told me I get to sign his moon, so I'm going to sign the moon with you.
That's a reprint, right?
No, he just did. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I need to sign that.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Beautiful.
And he wanted this color pen.
So we'll do that.
Okay. And maybe, I don't know, your district or something so that you would, oh, look at you, I knew somebody
On
would
the
get that
moose
moose.
butt.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on over here?
That's your treats for you guys.
Yeah.
That's your treats.
It says Kevin all over it.
It says Kevin on it. Kevin. Vegan, here's this. See? It's for you.
Vegan brownies?
Uh-huh.
Vegan? Wow.
I was skeptical
I'm
also,
not
but
sure about
What's
that.
wrong with this world?
It
Doesn't have gluten in it. I'm
I don't like ribeye on my brownies.
Oh, there's one of his original thing.
Come on, you guys, it's the chocolate that matters.
Here's a little treat. This is our
I was looking
conference
for a little
room.
knife so I can cut it
And
in pieces so we can all share.
we're asking you guys to sign this, and then that's the picture we're gonna hang up.
Let's see. if we can-
Beautiful. Wow.
All right, I'm just.
Feels so special.
Oh, look at that. See? Look at you. You know what?
Where to go?
I'm really impressed with you right now.
MacGyver.
Usually I'm the one MacGyver to find stuff and like, and now you jump right on that.
Now, this can be a community space that you guys can borrow. You could do a work session here sometime.
Oh,
You know?
that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's gonna be all wired and
It's impressive. It's really good.
high five for you.
Hi-fi.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's like high-speed.
High speed, everything, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot put into the technology of the space. We got a lot of technology consultants, amazing partners, and businesses coming together because they're wanting it to work. They're wanting the workforce. So we have a lot of ability, But can you think that all of this happened in the middle of a pandemic?
I didn't cut the brownies.
Right, so when, and all the resources that were expended, and there were challenges, but there are also a lot of successes with getting stuff done.
It really impacted me when your team presented at the ARPA work session, and they were saying that at first you were like, I guess we can't accept new people, and then well, we have to, and then you were saying that people in the lower 48 coming to houses in the lower 48, some of them in stopped.
They closed, and
that really
it was a challenge because I'm not sure what the flavor that was going on, but we didn't receive any FEMA. We didn't receive any, and they were like, well, that's what you do. So this is, and we're like, in a pandemic, we don't house hundreds of people in our gym, right? I mean, we've never had a pandemic, so what we're doing is outside the ordinary. But we had about 300% surge.
Yeah.
And young people
I'm so glad
served in it.
Can we just sign
Yep.
somewhere?
Sign wherever you want to be. Sign wherever you want to be.
Isn't that fun?
Oh, Christopher already signed the moose's butt. That's what I was going for, the moose's butt.
Grades are almost due.
Yeah, you got snacks and water and punch. Look at that. So, this is kind of where your tour ends, and if you have any questions, if you, want to ask me anything, feel free to do so.
I have a question. Can you give us some price tags for these two projects?
Yeah. Between both projects, the lift that Covenant House is doing is $22 million. To date, we've raised $16 million. And so our next investment will be the operations piece to lift that and get that going. This project included the purchase of the building, so this project was more. This was probably, $8 million with the purchase price, the reno, all the furniture, all the fixtures, simulators, and it's 20.
Imagine simulators.
22. This is about 23,000 square feet.
Okay.
Bridge to Success is 11,000 square feet, and primarily one thing is kind of that micro unit model, and it sat around around 6 million. Yeah, around 5 million, something like that, 5.4. And now really, you know, the rest is that operating piece. So what we're looking for is try to figure out whether it be the next investment of ARPA or what is to have a 2-year pilot on to be able to run this in the most efficient, effective way and really allow us to use data to shape how it's best to get these young people into these careers and trades. Who are our best partners? Does this look like a AvTech in the middle of Anchorage? You know, like what can we do to maximize whether the investments and then also increase our partnership with Department of Labor. You know, we've had a lot of conversations with them, with the state. Again, what I was telling you is I'm a firm believer we've got to step our toe and we'll actually dive into the exit of young people from the foster care system, or we're never going to stop the trauma that keeps perpetuating in families in our community. So that will be very intentional.
What's the stack for operational revenue?
What's the stack?
How's it going to pay for itself? The operation side.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're pretty. You know, I mean, that's a great question. What's the stack of it? Never quite thought of it like that, Chris. So I think it's going to be a profile that models what our revenue is, you know, at the rest of the organization. So a lot of private dollars, philanthropy. You know, we believe at the first 2 years it's going to be, you know, a higher investment with probably what are called federal dollars, which would be ARPA or any of those type of funds. I think that will get us to where our private investors are the ones that, because we're starting to see private investors come back to all of our services, right? And so, you know, everybody's thought was, oh my gosh, once someone gets government funds, then, you know, government has to pay for everything. I mean, we're at still now 60% private and 40% government. And so, and with we will say less than 1% municipal, you know, so whenever I have somebody angry call and say, we pay for everything, I'm like, no you don't, but thank you for paying your taxes, right?
Yeah.
You know?
And I would say that the lofts, the micro units are attached to vouchers,
right?
So they are subsidized housing.
Yeah, that program is a little different.
And then the other thing is for this program, the Covey Academy program, what we're doing is expanding our housing departments, right? But our partners will be coming in and delivering the actual training programs and paying those instructors.
Right, that's on their mission, their organization.
But I would imagine, just like though, when we first moved into that building, Chris, for the first year, I paid for every partner to be on that space.
Of course.
And that's what I need to do here, so that they can find their funding, that can find their path, and everyone did. We don't pay for a single one now. So
you know, if I were that's not a terribly huge amount, right? To get a year's worth for each of them.
No, it's probably, I think our pro forma is sitting at about $1.5 million. $1.5 million on this one, and about $1 million there. So 2.5 a year.
I was thinking about the narrow piece of getting the providers in here and established. That's going to be just a chunk of that.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself as a separate sector than homeless services in general? Like, do you see yourself as like there's these homeless services that happen? Mm-hmm. There's this effort to have coordinated data. There's this effort to have coordinated outreach and services and different pillars and all of this work. And we've go to all these other cities, you know, Houston and San Antonio and San Francisco, all these places. That there's this coordinated effort. Do you see yourself as fully engaged in that entire project, or do you see yourself as sort of a niche, like we're this piece of it and we kind of do our own thing?
You know, I'll be honest, for a long time, I feel like we were a niche, right? And there's some disadvantages to being a niche because now if I step into it, I don't know what that whole mix is. I would say 6 years ago, it was the best thing and the worst thing that ever happened to Covenant House. One, I got a sabbatical, and two, we got into YHDP, and that was the HUD demonstration project. It completely changed our model of care, and it was humbling because we we recorded things based on what people wanted, but we couldn't tell you what our impact was. I couldn't tell you how many people are housed tonight. I couldn't tell you some of those things because all we were able to basically get our arms around was, the 27 grants that we had and what 5 numbers they wanted, right? So Covenant House, as an international system, decided that we were going to use data to drive our service model. And it was $2-3 million investment on the part of International to get all the sites on a platform. And it is a blessing to this community, right? Because we benchmarks ourselves toward all of the major cities. And Covenant House, Alaska is one of the top Covenant House sites. We're definitely more innovative and we push ourselves here more. But I think it's because we have a high percent of our staff with lived experience that are like, I'm done trying to figure this out. Like, let's get in here and let's figure this shit out, right? So we have that going for us. And we have, it was kind of the thing that my mom used to tell me all the time is you never make the wrong mistake. You make the most out of whatever decision you make. And so the people over my staff at times say that, we don't have the risk, we don't have the same fear of failure that stops us from trying anything, right? And so I think that's the biggest difference is that I know all the adult providers. I mean, I've been here 25 years, right? So I know them all. All along, I've tried to help them say, maybe we should all be on a shared data platform and we can help you learn from our mistakes and some of our challenges. And you have to get to the place where you're humbled enough to not think everything that you're doing is great. And that is a jar that required me 6 months to be on an island in Greece for me to be able to come back and go, did we do harm, right? And I think that's truly the space where you have to be. And that's where the other providers, right? I mean, all the things that we did, even at Covenant House, we did thinking it was the best we could do. And then we learned. And I think that's the space that we need to be in. And that's the space any meeting that I can be in with my friends, I tell them that. And there are some providers that are right on, and then there's a lot of risk in stepping out and saying, I think I can do it different. Yeah. So.
Well, just the one experience that I had that I think of as you're talking about that is Houston. And that was where we visited, 20, 25 different providers of all ages and all different kinds of things. Everyone used the same name.
Yeah.
We're all a part of this program, this thing, right? Everyone referred to it constantly. And they were totally different organizations. They were all in the same data system. Mm-hmm. And if one stepped out, they lost their funding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So their funding was linked to their requirement of being a part of this thing.
What kind of funding?
The
federal,
funding,
state.
Yeah, that somehow they had linked all this funding to the central sort of program or agency or whatever it was. And they would still have philanthropy, that sort of thing, but a big chunk of their money was linked to this. So there was a real risk of if I didn't play, I didn't be part of it. But everyone from the mayor to the nonprofits to the private partners used the same name constantly. Oh, we're all part of this plan, and here's the 6 parts of that plan, and here's what we're doing, and we're doing this part of the plan. And it was this level of data and coordination that I had never seen before. But I don't know how you get there.
Well, I tell you, we're probably a mini version of it, and they're calling it Covenant House because every partner has to enter into our data system. Mm-hmm. We had to go through all the angst and the fighting, and I have to laugh. That now they're amazing partners at South Central Foundation. I'll never forget the first meeting where we were talking about it. And I walked into my conference room and they had like 11 attorneys and then there was me. And I walked back down the hall and I got all my staff, just go in there with a piece of paper, act important, But it's, like a size organization that big, their risk is a lot higher, right? And so like, how do we level the field, and we basically said we want to land on sharing the results of the outcome. So that means everybody's got to go into the system. So we do ETO, efforts to outcomes. So and our permanency navigators, everything goes in. So we can see when Johnny comes back, all of Johnny's experiences before, the progress that made, and so Johnny is picking up, not going backwards, right? And I think that's that model. I've seen it in Houston. Austin has something very similar too. So, but I think this is the first time I've seen, and I'm glad, a level of investment on the municipality and our community with the alcohol tax, saying we want to help. We'll support this. Now, Lord knows I don't know what that process is for those dollars to come back into services. I don't know where they're all going, but they're coming here. And just in case anybody has any questions, they're not coming here. But
did you apply for alcohol tax funding and not get it?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought with this form that we've put up. It might be that we dedicate a certain portion in sometime in the future to a process that does allow for.
You're talking about ARPA now?
I'm talking about using that ARPA model for future alcohol tax approaches that allow for organizations to make applications to us, and we contemplate them in the context of priorities. And take a little bit more of an approach that's.
Because how could you?
Very interesting.
You wouldn't probably know that we got turned down, right? And our thinking was, even if we say we're 12%, 10% of the population, even if we looked at that amount, that will lift us to remain innovative and push ourselves to do more. It wasn't
upstream,
us,
right?
and it wasn't us sitting there going, we want it all. It didn't happen that way. But it's like, where did it go?
We don't have a very good insight.
Yeah.
To be honest, into how that process has gone, and Kevin could probably get some more information. How projects were selected, and we hear from people who say, like Star reached out to us and said we didn't get any money. How could that be the case when? Yeah. But I do think there's a lot more competition on the homelessness front because there's just a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of ideas that the muni or the administration have and money they want to spend.
Yeah.
In that sort of bucket, but there also was like half the money from last year was not used.
Yeah.
So
and all last year we were like, please, especially. We had 2 years where we ended, in a 600, 700,000 deficit that we were funding just to keep our doors open. There were Covenant House sites that closed, right? That closed their open intake, and we were like, no, we're going to do this because eventually it's going to be recognized, right? And there were investments made. The Assembly did make, you guys had to bring it up and then supported it, and it did happen. But then, I swear to God, I have to laugh. I chased that $1 million for almost a year and a half, right? So we had to fund it, right? And I just think that there's a disconnect between when you say yes and then what yes happens, right? And some organizations can hang on. But think about it, us having to take that out of our investment means it wasn't getting any investments, right? Your money sitting there wasn't getting any investment. And so it's just I was like, why am I having to chase this, right?
I have another program. These fraternities, we funded $600,000 of relief. We still never sent a list to identify who's getting it. And so I think there's an opportunity based on the model that we're implementing with ARPA for alcohol tax future efforts.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Not responsible though for awarding the money, so I think that's...
We can be. We just can't. We're not responsible for spending it or for we can set it up however we want.
That's true.
The administration is one party in the question, and so I think we do some post work on this ARPA process and decide on a methodology going forward.
Yeah. And I think with the alcohol tax to it's brand new.
Yeah.
And so I do think that it just takes a little time to sort of get in the right vibe and know how we're splitting things up and know, the community to understand what's going on. And with COVID and everything, I think the health department was the one issuing those grants and was dealing with COVID. And so I think that's part of it. Yeah. but we should be able to.
When I think
pull it
about,
together
I
soon.
think about if, 5-6 years ago, every day my phone was ringing on, you've got 27 kids hanging out in town square. Every one of your kids are hanging out in the mall. Nobody's doing anything, right? The shift has changed the landscape of young people in our community. And so anybody that doesn't think it can change, I think they're wrong, right? I appreciate you challenging them on that thinking, because it has, right? I mean, every corner, you almost had just as many groups of young people, sitting there, and it be a situation where I would get, it's very intimidating. You can't walk down the alley. There's blah, 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 right? And especially
I'm really
town
scared of this
square.
18-year-old.
Downtown, downtown had a lot of issues. And so the decision to move out of the heart of downtown helped us redirect and bring some of that energy. And yet we didn't do it and create chaos here, right? Yeah. And so there's got to be a strong plan to move the population, that might be addressed in the tutor area, right? There's going to be work on that, right? But it can be done. And
it can be, but it comes down to staffing and a strong operations plan and a strong funding plan and all of that.
Yeah. Which I was,
expertise.
Yeah. And I'm, like I said, I am one person, but I am happy to be a part of making sure that space works for whoever, and it's because I want it to work for the community.
Well, and it's part of a bigger network.
It's part of it. So to answer your question, I now feel like I'm a part of everything, because I realize that if we can do an effective job here, our young people aren't going to get into the adult chronic system. But you know what? We have many that are already there, and we got to figure out the best way to maximize effective intervention.
Lessons learned coming from you and from your work here that we need to tap into, and it's just a very it's a system with lots and lots of players who've been functioning independently forever, and who've had to survive on their own.
Right.
And so it's built that way. They have their own data, they have their own information, they have their own language, they have their own funders, their own resources. And it's very much about this idea of coming together in this one collaborative group is really scary. And I think that so for someone, a leader like you, to be able to step in and say, I'm willing to be a part of this, I'm willing to help, it's really, really important.
And you guys have to help me for all the freaking pot shots. Every time I say one word, I get crazy, call me on the phone.
First thing you need to do.
If we knew how to get crazy, not to call us on the phone.
I'm like,
send us weird emails.
I was like, who are you?
The first thing you need is a spreadsheet that breaks down how they got to $5 million annual operating costs, because it's never been delivered to the public.
Okay,
it does not exist. And so it's a promise.
I'll ask.
It's a promise. So until that gets out there, it's blue sky. But once you see that, then people will be able to help.
Yeah.
Like, wait, this isn't realistic. That's more. That's less.
Yeah.
But there's. I have yet to see a document in 8-9 months that demonstrates how they came to those numbers.
Well, I really, I appreciate you guys taking your afternoon to come here. I really wanted to be able to be comfortable in a conversation to say, we're definitely an active part of the community. We don't sit alone on an island, with it, and we feel
that
like
was Greece. That's over.
Yeah. And I fully recovered from my sabbatical. It's only took me like 5 years.
Do we have a sabbatical program? I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's called post-election.
Yeah.
It's after you're done.
Well, I tell you, I really thought the hard part was going to be leaving. Hard part wasn't leaving. Hard part was coming back.
Oh yeah,
because the darkness didn't change, right? Like when I left, it was just a really dark time in Anchorage. There were
literal or figurative?
Literal. Like there were, we had like 4 or 5 deaths of young people that it was just, I had to stand by a young person who passed alone on skateboarding. I was just inundated with it. And I was like, oh my God, like how did Mother Teresa do this? It's like, and then I realized too, that this work, it can be dark, but I'm not dark, right? And like I got to figure out how to be a light, because I have an amazing staff that want to be a light. But if all we look at is the things that we aren't doing, then it's going to drop on them too. And I think I had started dropping on them. And we started thinking that we couldn't be all that we could be. And now they're rock stars. We got a prom going of like 150 kids tonight. And the entire organization has a booth and a department. You know what I mean? Like, so it's definitely a different space. And I mean, you know, we have 140 employees.
I can attest the old style place. It was like walking into a really sad medical clinic with a locked door and buzzers, and just the smell was bad. And everything was piled on top of each other, and it's just such a. Why would kids ever want to stay there?
Yeah,
they would go to Town Square because inside felt like an institution.
Who wouldn't?
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Can I get a picture of you all before we go?
Sure. Oh yeah,
we have a good spot.
Well, how about that with our logo in the back?
Oh, there. We're with this beautiful.
Right in front of the mural.